Welcome to Tech Transformation with CGT and RIS News. I'm Lisa Johnston, the editor-in-chief of CGT. In this episode, I'm talking with Mark Kirkham, SVP and Chief Marketing Officer of PepsiCo's international beverages business. So as part of this, you had mentioned there's more data sharing going on to make these partnerships more valuable. So can you talk about how you're leveraging these insights to make these campaigns more successful? Like, how is this different than what you were doing in the past, essentially?
I think what the most important thing that's different is I think data has evolved beyond transaction. I think too often in the past, we relied on data to tell us what happened in the past and on a transactional level. What we need is to find the way to share data. And look, sharing data is not always easy. Everyone has their own proprietary data. But I think if you find the right ways to partner with your retailers, with your third parties, to share data to actually really surround the consumer with your brands from a retail and from a manufacturer standpoint. This ability to share will allow us to not only see what they bought, but what are they interested in? What are they bought last time? What are the other categories they're engaging? How do you tie it in through other subscriptions, other services? This is when you take a mobile platform like Spotify to an in-store activation platform, just like a regular POS, and then take it to the next level with actually integrated into the Stages platform, where they could actually be interacting with a point of sale, an outdoor signage, a bus shelter 6 sheet. All of these interconnected points create data. And if you can find the right mix of retail, partner, in this case, Spotify, and brand, I think what you can do is no longer focus on just that end transaction, but the ecosystem in which you can engage both the consumer, but ultimately from a retailer standpoint, the shopper. Drive more trips, drive more engagement, create more reasons for them to come to their store.
So then let's talk ROI as part of that. So there's a lot of different things you can measure in a lot of new ways. But so how are you tracking progress now with all these new capabilities? Can you share, some of the metrics that you're really valuing?
Yeah, look, I think the more you move to new platforms, the harder it is, right? I mean, it was always easy to do a Nielsen analysis, look at your baseline, look at your lifts. The more you start going outside traditional measure metric, it's more difficult. I think we have to be honest with that. But what you can do by using, again, a combination of our internal data, our partner data, and customer data, if we can actually look at what are the rate of sale within individual stores where we had targeted media or we had specific promotional activations, we've actually seen in some cases lifts of 20, 40, 60% tied to specific in-store sales. Now, again, that is something then you have to actually do a lot of the back-end calculations, financial ROI basis. But those are the type of detailed analyses you can do that you didn't used to do in the past. And even in the traditional Nielsen world, which obviously, as you mentioned earlier, I worked in, there are limitations outside of essentially the till or the receipt of the purchase and the transaction. Now we can actually do it through mobile media. Now we can do it through dedicated, targeted out-of-home displays. And that's where we can kind of design these most valuable stores, these perfect store assortments. All of this is now changing how manufacturers and retailers can work together. Nielsen data, all the traditional syndicated data is really important for the transactional side. But when you start being able to bring in the media data and the engagement data from someone like a Spotify or other partners, now you have a much more robust way to measure ROI.
Can you talk about some of the ways you're using the Spotify data, or maybe not specific Spotify data, but this new data elsewhere within the company or in other ways in marketing?
I think the best way that we're trying to internalize a lot more data, capture a lot more first party data. I think one of the challenges always is with third parties. There's certain data, they'll give you aggregate data, but they won't give you individual data, and obviously GDPR and others prevent certain data sharing. But I think what we've been able to do is kind of match different data sets. So looking at what we have from first party data, match it to syndicated store level data, match it to geographic, if not demographic data coming from a third party. That kind of cross section of data will allow us to be smarter in how we target, more effective and efficient in terms of our media buying. And then I think from a retail standpoint, we can really hone in on stores. If we can hone in on certain stores, then you can think differently about how you prioritize assortment, how you prioritize fulfillment. All of those different elements can come together. And so a lot of what we're using it's a lot of our own data that we capture in working with our retail partners, but equally, using third-party external data to kind of better target our activities. And I think that's where the industry is heading. We're lucky to have a lot of internal experts, and we've really invested in data analytics and retail analytics that we hadn't in the past. I think that's changing how manufacturers, the value add we can offer back. Because we can go to our bottlers and to retailers with a heck of a lot more to offer than just discounts and DNA and allowances. That's the big value add I think that's changing the game.